Evolution and philosophy behind the Indian Constitution. Three important questions, both are the main right from the beginning of the history of civilization. They are the: is government is necessary? What is the best form of the government? How can we prevent the government from becoming tyrannical? How can we prevent the government from becoming tyrannical? Answer to the above these questions, to the origin of idea, the constitutionalism, and then the constitutional law. Constitution refer to the body of doctrine or practices which form the basis of organizing state. The human being, according to great Greek philosopher Aristotle, is a political and social animal. Human being, according to great Greek philosopher Aristotle, is a political and social animal. Either human being, a family cannot survive in isolation. It becomes necessary for a man to organize himself into communities and societies. With the growth of population, then society grew, the multiplied, and some form of the rules regulation was needed. Out of need arose law and government. Robert M. McVeer in The Web of Government says that the same necessities that the create of family create regulation. The existence of family requires that the regulation of sex, regulation of property, and the regulations of the youth. The government is miniatures of the already. Government is quite celebrate character. Family is everywhere in the matrix of government. Is government is necessary? What is the best form of government? How can we prevent the government from becoming tyrannical? Robert M. McVeer in The Web of Government says the same necessity of the create the family create regulation. The existence of family require the regulation of sex, the regulation of property, and the regulation of youth. Here the government Here the government is a miniature or ordinary government to quite elaborate character, family, and everywhere matrix of government. McVeer explained the differences between the state and the government, and the organ organized is an effective expression. When I speak of the state, we mean the organization of which government is administrative organ. Even organization must have a focus on administration. An agency by which its political are given the specific character of translated into action. But the organization is a greater than the organ in the sense of state, greater and more exclusive of the government. A state of constitution, a code of law, way of setting up the government, a body of citizens. When the think this is the whole structure, we think of the state under these endlessly varied circumstances. The habit of pertaining the government, which is the first word entered in the family kin circle and found a locus its inclusive community. A written constitution is essentially a basic of expression of the ideas and organization of the government that is the formally presented in the document. Written constitution is a content is one document such as the Soviet Union or the Constitution of India or a Swiss constitution. Some constitutions are found in several documents such as the Canadian Constitution, which conclude the Constitution Act, as well as several pieces of the legislation and historical document. There is the government without the constitution, which are the yet constitutional government, because they have limited governments which can be called constitutional regime. The British government does not possess the document called the Royal Constitution. There are the number of different documents that were part of the body of the referred to British constitutional law, including Magna Carta 1215, 12 May 15, Petition of Right 1628, Bill of Rights 1689, the Act of Settlement Act 1701, and certain special acts of Parliament. What is the Constitution? It is a sort and a rule of it is in its the sort a rule of book of a nation codifying rule of law. A rule of book of a nation codifying rule of law. The Constitution is a legal document having a special legal sanctity which sets out the framework and the principal function of the organ of the government of a state, declares the principle governing the operation of these organs. Like every other constitution, the Indian Constitution also seeks to establish the fundamental organ of government and administration, lays down there the structure, composition, power, and principal function, defines the interrelationship one organ with another, regulates the relationship between the citizen and the state. More particularly, the political relations, the states have resulted certain the principle of law through the written constitution. As a democratic constitution, the Indian masterpiece also reflects the fundamental political values of substantive ways the guaranteeing fundamental rights to the citizen and the procedural way by providing remedies. It mirrors basic values about self-governed and in what direction constitution means the structure of a body organization, or we can also say what constitute it or what consists of, because of the nation is one of the biggest is the wood with the most variety of the people and culture. India needs a expressly written code of governance more simply, specifically when the people come choose to have different institute states mechanism and level of sovereignty, and thus we have the longest written constitution, which is one of the essential feature of democratic federation. Functions of constitution. A constitution is a political structure, whether it is a written or not, the allowed or not. They have several functions. Expression of ideology. It reflects the ideology and philosophy of the nation state. Expression of basic law. Constitution represent basic laws which could be modified, replaced through the process called the extraordinary procedure of amendment. There is a special law also which usually focus upon the right of citizen, for instance, rights concerning language, speech, religion, assembly, press, property, and so on. Organization framework. The provide organization framework to government. It defines the function, legislative, executive, and judiciary interrelationship for extension of the authority. It is the level of government. Constitution generally explains the level of different organ of government, whether it is the federal, confederation, or unity, will be described by the constitution, which the delineate the powers level of national and provincial government. Amendment provision. Amendment provision, as it would not be possible to foretell all the possibility in future, the great degree of accuracy. There must be sufficient provision for amendment of the constitution. It should contain a set of direction for its own modification. The system might be collapsed, its lacks of scope and modification, inherently capacity of change according to changing times, need help to system survive, improve. Soviet constitution was mostly expression of ideology. Soviet constitution was mostly expression of ideology, he less an expression of organization setup. The American constitution is more an expression of government organization and guideline for the power of relationship. The regime can be expression of philosophy of the religious regime. Thank you.